All right, Nick. 1 pitch, 1 out in the top of the 9th, leaves the Reds down 6-1 with 1 away, and stands in Gavin Lux, trying to have a 4-hit day. So I guess that's the positive sign. 4-hit day. Wow, there it is. There it is. What a big day for Gavin Lux.
Your voice is cracking.
Damn. Is it got to be the stream? Is it the stream?
Now I don't hear it.
I don't know.
I don't care anymore.
We're so beat down.
Like they can.
I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. I think the solution is going to be having a. What's the device that you have? The little box.
Focusrite.
Yes, thank you. I think I'm going to go get a Focusrite as like an extra backup, so I can just like maybe use that.
Yeah. Are we? What are we on? What is our key on Twitter? It's not updated PC.
Yeah, that's it. You're not getting it?
Not going through there.
Let me see. Let me check. Should be. No? I can check. Let me check on it. Hey, listen, we can just relax here tonight. We don't have to get overly frustrated.
Well, it's Trace's house, in case you're wanting to know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just started going through them, and that one seemed to send a feed. So there we go.
Maybe I didn't save it.
Whatever did it, it's working on that one. So Trace's house.
Am I crackling again? Yeah. All right.
No, it's like coming and going. It's coming and going more today than it was yesterday.
Yeah. Maybe if I don't scream and yell and I just talk very nicely into the microphone, it won't do it. I don't know. It's going to be pretty hard to talk nicely tonight. Is that a home run? Oh, of course it's not. Of course it's not. All right, folks. I know you don't like the long intro. Sometimes we don't either, but it is what it is, and we're gonna run this stream, and we're gonna run this intro. We're gonna try to regroup, get ourselves situated, and when we come back, we're gonna do a baseball show, and we're gonna all get along, and we're gonna sing Kumbaya. Okay, that's the plan.
Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Done up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field.
Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the line, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line to the right field. Genius, the first run ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, welcome into a losing edition of Chatterbox Reds. Some are going to say a season-ending edition of Chatterbox Reds. I'm not going to go that far tonight, but I will tell you this has been by far the most disappointing last 3 games in the entirety of the season. It's hard not to jump ship right now and just say that 2025 is a lost cause. It would be disingenuous to sit here and act as if, this baseball team feels like they're going to be able to do it. But I've been wrong before, Nick. I've been wrong before, and I would love to be wrong again, but it certainly seems to me that if Nick Krall were to be making decisions, or Brad Meter, or whoever else down there decides they want to do some work, that they basically just now are complete sellers. And you can maybe convince me that they might be able to go out and try to find a bat that has some control if there's some kind of blockbuster deal to be made at the deadline that you're looking for a bounce back guy like Luis Robert. But it's never good when we start off a show, Nick, and I think the really only thing to discuss probably here is what decisions are going to be made long term. Where do you look for? Because we could sit here and dissect this game, and we will obviously do the box score recap as we normally do, and we'll talk about how the Cincinnati Reds are incapable of scoring runs once again. And I'm sure that some in the chat and some listening right now will be upset that we gave up 6, but ultimately, this team has played to the level of their competition far too often over the past few years of following them on a daily basis, and that just seems what this all feels like, Nick. We've played to our competition yet again, and here we find ourselves on the brink of getting swept for the first time all year to the Washington Nationals.
Man, I got 10 hits tonight. I'll hit the Nationals 10-7. They just don't have enough guys that can do damage at the plate, or they don't play those guys, and yeah, I mean, that's why this team struggles to score runs consistently. So, yeah, they might catch a break tonight. Unless the Marlins choke. Marlins are leading 4-1 right now. So, I mean, I guess it's the same as if the Reds had won and the Padres had won. But I don't. It's hard to convince me that this team is worth buying for. It's really hard to convince me.
So that's a good point that you bring up, Nick. I guess I'll ask you this: like, do you genuinely think that that's the same? I don't, to be clear, but I do want to hear your thought on it. Do you feel like, obviously at some point someone's going to win, but the point is that every night, as long as you don't lose a game in the standings, do you feel like it's kind of like basically kicking the can down the road? You don't feel like you've lost anything. Your thoughts on that before I kind of jump into that deep end.
As I spoke, the Padres just scored 2 runs, so we'll see. They are in the top of the 9th. The Padres have a runner on second with no one out. So let's actually they just got an out, so they got 1 out. Yes and no. I mean, it ultimately, I mean, there's no one in front of the Reds right now. The Reds were in a 3-way tie for the first team out of the playoffs coming into today. So yeah, it really just matters what the Padres do on a day-to-day basis. But this is, to me, is just another data point of it's just you watch this team and it's like our initial feelings that we felt most of the year up until June when the Reds got really hot. I had made peace with the season. I'd say I made peace. This isn't going to be the Reds' year. It is what it is. It sucks. It really sucks. We got to move on. And they played really well in June. And I mean, you want to believe. I mean, I want to believe as much as anyone else, but it just time and time again, it feels like the moments that have felt good were fool's gold. And I would love to be wrong. I'd love for this team to prove otherwise, but I don't feel it with this team at all right now. And that's tracing all of this. That's different than my overall like feelings. Like I do want to make something clear because I think that people might misconstrue a little bit of it. I have not lost faith that the Reds organization is a dumpster fire and that they're never going to go anywhere. I completely understand if you have at this point. If you feel that way, I don't know why you still invest in this, but there's still a lot of really, really good pieces on this organization with Elly De La Cruz, with Hunter Greene, with Chase Burns. All hope is not lost, but it's I just don't see it this year. And they're close. Like they're close. We've talked before that if 2023 didn't happen, it would feel completely different. If the 2023 team had done what they were supposed to do and it only won like 72 games, yes, everyone would still be frustrated. And yes, it would be another lost year, but it would look like you're kind of at least heading in an upward trajectory. But that year just put things so far out of whack that it I think a lot of ways made unrealistic expectations. And the Marlins did save us. They did win.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're one of the folks that thinks really the standings in and of itself is the only thing that matters when it comes to scoreboard watching in July 22nd of 2025, then you can say that, no harm, no foul tonight. I would say there's harm. There's significant harm because realistically speaking, teams that are going to make the postseason are going to play a little bit better against teams that aren't that good. The Nationals are not a good baseball team, no matter how you want to slice it. It doesn't matter how, And then secondarily to that, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the Reds' schedule and realize that they're going to have to play pretty damn good baseball. Period. To even have a chance. That's the thing. This isn't about like playing 500 baseball for the rest of the year and getting into the postseason. No, that ship has sailed. In fact, we had opportunities to try to get ourselves to that point earlier this year when we played lesser opponents, and when we were playing the likes of Connor Joe and Garrett Hampson in the corner outfield spots, we had Blake Dunn, Jacob Hurtubise, and Tyler Callahan in the outfield. That's when we could have started to kind of stretch this out a little bit. No, we never would have forecasted, obviously, the Brewers doing what the Brewers have done. Never would have forecasted in a million years that maybe the Cubs would have been as good as they have been. I don't know which one is more legitimate, the Cubs or the Brewers. Sometimes it feels like the Cubs clearly are the better team. But then again, you look at kind of what the Cubs have done from individual player perspectives, and they've had some guys on their team Nick, that have had unbelievable years. And then you look at the Brewers and you say, well, they have a bottom 10 offense in all of baseball, yet they find a way to scratch these games out. But you know what? I'm done with that whole song and dance with the Brewers. I really am. We can sit here every single year if we'd like and be like, well, they're just not that good. Same thing you can do with the Steelers if you'd like. If you want to do that with the Steelers this upcoming season and say, well, they got an old quarterback and they don't have this, they don't have that, well, they're going to probably win 9, 10 games. Yeah, they might not be, they probably won't go to the Super Bowl, and the Brewers probably won't go to the World Series. But we're not going to sit here every year and act like they're not going to be very good next year. That leads me back to the Reds. There's no margin for error. You can make fun of me all you want and say that I'm overreacting off of 1 or 2 baseball games. Perhaps I am. I just don't see it. I don't see how they can do it. And they've not showcased themselves to a point where they can play, in my opinion, like super hot baseball. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 1 step forward, 3 steps back. And at some point, after all the steps are made up, you got almost an even amount of steps. You can't get to that. And again, I'm not suggesting what we need to do what the Brewers have done, because I think that's a little unrealistic. But the Brewers have won, 10? They've had 2 10-game winning streaks this year. 2 of them. I'm pretty sure. I'm not saying they need to do something of that. I'm not even saying they need to get the 10 games. They need to have a 6 or a 7 or an 8-game winning streak at some point in the near future for them to get to a spot where I think they can do it. As I've said before, it's not that I want to sit here and act as if the world is falling apart and the Reds are the world's worst team. But if we're going to make the standard the postseason, then we also need to understand that we've fallen short of doing that. And as soon as we can accept that, I think that it would be better as a fan. I'll be honest, Nick, tomorrow's a noon game. I'm going to sit down and relax and just watch the game. I'm going to watch individual players again. And I know some people hate fanning like that. They might not want to watch their team that way. I don't either. Trust me. I would love nothing more to be in a postseason run, Nick. But I think I'm also trying to be realistic with myself, because all I'm going to do is get let down. All I'm going to do is just get hurt again. And I know it sounds like absurd to say from a relationship standpoint, but it very much is. Like, we all have relationships with this franchise. Some of you are fully in love with them, obsessed with them. Every day you're looking into something to try to figure out how they could do something better or what trades possibly they can make. And some of you treat it as kind of your 3rd or 4th side piece where, every so often you check in on it, and if they're doing great, so be it. If they didn't get the job they wanted, you don't care either. And I understand that's a fair way to fan as well. All I'm saying is that I'm ready to move on and look at another opportunity at a later date. And I get why people might hate me for saying that in regards to they're just tired. I want to win now. I've been waiting 30 years. It's just not there. And you can want it to be there, right? Like a horrible stock investment. Nick, you can keep your money in that horrible stock if you'd like and watch it just keep trickling down and losing money. You can do that if you'd like. I personally, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to try to put it in something else. And that something else to me is 2026, 2027, 2028. And that, to many fans, I get as a turnoff. But this show is over for me. And I hope, and again, I don't mean it as if I hate these players or anything like that. I hope we're aggressive and we have a decisive moment in this franchise, which is we are not going to sit around and try to keep running the same damn ragtag operation out there and expect different results. And Jeimer Candelario is a bust, and I know Nick Martinez. We're not trying to defend. I'm not trying to get into the idea of saying it was a bad decision of giving a qualifier offer not. I'm just saying in general. Nick Martinez and Jeimer Candelario got paid a lot of money this year, and the truth of the matter is that a guy making, $5 million in Austin Hayes has been infinitely more valuable. So they're going to have to hit on some free agent signings for this team to get into a spot where we can be excited again. And then you got to replenish the system so in maybe 2 years from now, you're not so heavily needing to go get help outside of maybe a player here, a player there.
Yeah. If you want to beat the Brewers, if the Brewers were in the red spot, it wouldn't be a discussion. It would be a we're selling. I mean, this is the same team that traded Josh Hader when they were, I think, were they in first place at the trade deadline? Like, they traded Josh Hader because he was an expiring contract, because
they
are
were
always thinking about the future. Like that's what you're up against. Like, they've set the standard. Like, I don't know what to tell you if you don't believe it. But yeah, look, I hope that they are aggressive and they sell. And then, you know what? I hope a miracle happens in the second half. I hope you call up CES to replace whoever you got rid of, and you not call up, he's been up. You play someone like Will Benson, and some of these guys get hot and they play out of their minds, and you pull off like what the Detroit Tigers did last year. Now, that's not a recipe that's going to happen very often, but you have to look at where you're at, and you have to make the best decision. And it's very clear at this point in time, the best decision is to sell at the deadline, and not a fire sale, but it's to strategically sell and try to improve your overall franchise for next year and for beyond.
Yeah. Look at the chat quickly. Cashman said they had a stud behind Hader. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too. It's nice. It'd be nice to be able to trade guys that are pretty much on expiring contracts when you feel like you have the replacement already in house. And let's be honest, the issue with this franchise right now is that their farm systems is relatively average. And in order for them to get to a spot where they can feel comfortable trading guys, like, let's just be honest with ourselves right now. And I'm not trying to pick on Tyler Stevenson. I think people are going to think that I hate his guts. I really don't. But, I mean, I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. If we had Alfredo Duno, right, who's currently in the spot that he's at, and we had Alfredo Duno 2.0, who's in, call it high A, or not high A, but double A or triple A, playing relatively well, don't you think it'd make it a lot easier to try to go out and get some valuable pieces? Yeah, we know that it would. The issue that our fan base right now has is like, we can't trade this guy. Who's behind him? You know how I feel at this point? I don't give a damn who's behind him anymore, because I think personally the pieces we have now are not good enough. They're not good enough. So if you're not good enough, what's it matter? I mean, maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but like, if we win 82 games or 75 games, I don't care. You know why? Because that gap that we're talking there between those two things, you're relatively in the same spot. It means next to nothing. You're a loser, and you're sitting on the outside watching winners play postseason baseball. And you know what? There's not enough guys on this team right now that make me think, wow, if we lost him, it would be damn near impossible to replace him. And that's the issue. And until you can try to go and find more and more guys that you feel that way about, we're going to sit here and sit in purgatory, which is basically going to be nothing more than 500 baseball from here until the end of time. And I'm hopeful that they are aggressive sellers. Period. There's no other way in my mind to get to a spot where I think we can genuinely at some point have a baseball team that you feel like it doesn't take luck. There's no fluke involved. We're not sitting around wishing upon a 6, 7, 8, 9 game win streak, or like you just said, Nick, guys playing over their head for a month and a half to get you in a spot where you might make it. No, how about we just find a baseball team at some point that they're just so damn good, really it doesn't matter what happens. An injury here, an injury there, it doesn't matter. Ho-hum, you're still going to make the postseason because you have a really solid, well-rounded baseball team. And we don't have that right now. And that's Nick Krall's job, to be clear, to go and get that done. And that's his job right now, in my opinion, Nick, to block out the noise of whatever's been done previously for years and years and years, and to go out and make hard decisions and trade guys that some of these fan bases would consider their favorite player or whatever else you want to come up with. Maybe I'm overreacting, but we've Lodolo is gone. Stevenson is gone. When I say that,
for the right offer,
but you're gonna have to convince me that those guys are actually gonna be here when we're good enough, Nick. When we're good enough, like if we don't make significant changes going into next season, what makes me think that not trading Tyler Stevenson on an expiring contract is gonna is going to be worth it more than it would be now. Tyler Stevenson has to have as much value now as he would at the deadline next year, barring a miracle where he has a great season and there's some team at the deadline that's desperate to have him.
Yeah, I think you need to shop them. You have them under control both next season, so it has to be something significantly better than a comp pick and return. Significantly better than that, because you could just ride them all the way out and actually have them next year and still get a comp pick. So it has to almost, I think, at least be double of what that value is. Maybe probably more than that, to be honest. But yeah, look, I don't think this team's that far away. I mean, this team is 52-50, and I don't feel like they've been super lucky to be 52-50. I feel like they're pretty much are where what they deserved. So you're not that far away, but you got to make smart moves. You can't waffle around when you have times to sell and you have times to improve your franchise. And yeah, I mean, they're going to have to make some smart moves. And yeah, I would, like, if you want to be mad at someone, be mad at the ownership. I'm not an ownership guy, but ownership spending more money would make Nick Krall's job significantly easier. So yeah, spending money would be is the only way I think they can somewhat quick fix this. Other than that, there is no quick fixes that isn't massively detrimental to the future of your franchise, i.e., trading a bunch of prospects for one player.
I would say my pushback for the ownership would be, simply put, that they have given some money towards some contracts that have been abysmal. They have been abysmal. Now, they've hit some home runs on some lower leverage contracts as well, to be fair to the front office. So it's not like they've completely swung and missed. But I'm just saying it's going to be hard to go in there and battle for some more money when you went out and you signed Jeimer Candelario and he's basically burnt cash. You also have Mike Moustakas, who's been on the books. You've not signed a free agent hitter outside of Castellanos, and I guess now Austin Hayes, who's I guess worked out. You could also argue that they've not really hit on any major, what I would call, free agent signings. And yeah, I'm with you. It could make his job easier, but he's made it a little harder on himself to go ask for more money when he's also, missed on some sizable agreements. And again, we can sit here and debate till the cows come home about whether or not Nick Martinez is a good deal or not a good deal. I also think it's fair to say, Nick, sometimes a good deal for some of the top echelon teams in the league who have good payrolls, it's not also a good deal for a smaller market team. Hypothetically speaking, if you took the same percentage that the Reds payroll paid Nick Martinez, what would that percentage be on the Los Angeles Dodgers? Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I would like to know. I mean, he'd be making, I guess it's a good math experiment for somebody, and someone in the chat could probably let me know. What is that percentage? I bet it's an insane number of what the Los Angeles Dodgers would be paying Nick Martinez based off the same percentage. Now, that's not a fair comparison, but I think it does at least shed a little bit of light on the value that we have put on some players over others. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you know what? The development of some players has set us back a year or two. Matt McClain has set us back. CES has set us back. And the fact is that Marte really hasn't come around until later in the year, so it's not like we've had that type of Marte all season long, which would have made a difference. If we're being completely honest, Nick, having Marte the way that he's been all season long would have also made a healthy difference. And, as you've said before, maybe there's some other players that could get more run to make this whole thing look a little bit better. But, I'm just not beating that drum tonight because I already know people are going to sit here and think that, we just always talk about certain players and why they deserve opportunities, and we're just going to get crushed for it. So I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
All right.
Your margin for error is just so much smaller
it is.
I don't know. Like the Cubs wouldn't even think twice about the Nick Martinez move. Like, you wouldn't even be like, oh, that was such a terrible signing. Like, they're basically paying that to Jamison Talion on a longer term deal. They didn't get him on a 1-year deal, and he's producing the same. He hasn't even made as many starts as Nick Martinez, but they're not even thinking twice about that. So I don't know.
Right. To be clear, I think people are misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying what is the percentage of the Dodgers payroll for what we paid Nick Martinez. No. I'm saying that what is the percentage of our payroll that we paid Nick Martinez. So if it's
how are you going to replace Nick? How are you going to replace Nick Martinez?
If it's 20% this year?
Yeah, how are you going to replace him?
Well, it's irrelevant. That's the way I look at it. It's irrelevant. Like, my point is from here moving forward, in regards to trading him, you have to trade him. But are you asking me at the beginning of the season?
Yeah,
how you replace him?
How are you going to replace him? Like,
well, I'm not off the top of my head. I don't have a specific answer for you. Well, they could have packaged a deal here to go make a trade for that and got some help there. I'm not suggesting that once they made that deal that there wasn't merit to it. But what I am suggesting is that we have the same song and dance, it seems like, every year to me, which is that we are a below average offensive baseball team. And until that gets fixed, it seems like to me that we're always going to be battling, and it's always going to be an uphill battle. If I have some time, Nick, to be fair with you, I'll probably dig into it, and I could come up with what I think is a solution moving into next year on trying to actually genuinely go get some bats that will help us while taking a risk, if you want to call it that, taking a risk on hoping that some guys will stay healthy, and then from there, piecemealing together what is maybe a fourth or fifth starter. I'm assuming that's what we're going to consider, I guess, Nick Martinez if we were healthy. So, I don't know. Was Rhett Lowder already deemed out for the year when Nick Martinez was signed?
It doesn't matter. Clearly, you have to be prepared for someone in your starting rotation to go down. I don't know. I just think it's so easy to just pick on the Nick Martinez contract, but starting pitching is really hard to acquire, especially on short-term deals, especially on a 1-year deal. You could have went out and got a guy on a 5-year contract, but imagine if he pitches poorly in year 1, and then you're stuck with a 5-year contract. So, and to be honest, I don't even think Nick Krall had the option to sign 5-year contracts this offseason. So I don't know. It's really hard to find starting pitching. And I think the Reds were in the right to be prepared for starting pitching injuries because they barely have enough as it is.
I got a question. Maybe this is a philosophical debate I don't know the direct answer to that I perhaps should know the answer to. I don't know, but you say, how do you replace Nick Martinez? I think to myself, well, how much did Nick Martinez get paid this year? Off that off the top of your head?
It's $21 million.
$21 million. Just hypothetically speaking, what type of hitters can we go out and get for $21 million on a
1-year deal? On a 1-year deal.
Yeah, on a 1-year deal.
I don't know who signed on a 1-year deal.
But I mean, is Bell on a 1-year deal?
Josh Bell?
Yeah.
I don't think Josh Bell. I mean, Josh Bell is a 96 WRC plus. He's at 223 with a 312 on base percentage, a minus 0.3 wins above replacement.
Yeah. Well, I'm just asking simple questions, which is that
1 year, $6 million.
You got $6 million. So just hypothetically speaking, you have $21 million to try to find some guys that can move the baseball around the yard. I'd like to think that you could find some help in that area. I wonder, what I'm getting at is, I wonder if you can find somebody that's genuinely like another Austin Hayes type player. Is that worth more on an everyday basis than one arm out of a every 5-day rotation starter? Like over the course of a 162.
If you hit, I think, yeah.
You think so?
And if the guy's not. But again, it's 1-year hitters it's tough. I mean, it's a crapshoot with any of these guys. It really is. I don't know. I think that it will be a lot harder to replace anyone in the rotation than I think people give credit for.
I just think that as a Reds fan base, we're most of us, I think, would at some point just say, you know what? If we get to a spot where we're just the world's worst pitching team, our starting pitching just 4 and 5 are atrocious, but we finally have an offensive team that's above average, top 10 offensive team in baseball, then I don't know, man. At least if nothing else, that'd be a little more entertaining to watch. I could fight that fight. If we're gonna lose, let's at least lose in a way that's enjoyable to watch. We can sit here and lose 6-1, 4-1, 2-1, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And I get that this offense at times has had some good spurts, but I'd argue, Nick, this offense has had good spurts largely because of some random lower, what I would call younger guys coming up and playing really well for a short amount of time. So I don't know. So it's a frustrating night to sit here and try to discuss Reds baseball, that's for sure. And I'm doing my best to do it. And hopefully, people can understand what basically has been a funeral here tonight. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I don't know. But box score recap, 45 minutes into the show, we'll do that because I don't really know what we're going to talk about in this baseball game, but we'll try. Let's do it. Nick, take it away. Box score recap presented by you.
All right, Reds versus the Washington Nationals, game 2 of 3 in D.C. Chase Burns against Brad Lord, the Nationals' converted reliever on a strict pitch limit on Tuesday night. Chase Burns was dominant early, allowed just one base runner through the first 3 innings. On the other hand, the Reds had base runners in each of the first 3 innings, but had nothing to show for it. Reds finally broke through in the 4th off of Lord on an Elly De La Cruz double, hit 109 off the wall, and an RBI single from Gavin Lux to make it 1-0 Reds. The lead did not last long as Josh Bell homered off Burns in the 4th to tie the game. The Nats would put up 2 more runs off Burns in the 5th to make it 3-1. Burns was an out away from getting through 6 innings and a quality start, but a bases clearing single with a throwing error from Jake Fraley. Probably not a great job covering behind the plate by Burns. Made it 6-1 Nationals. Final line for Burns, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. Reds put runners on base in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, but could not get anyone across the plate. Reds finished the night 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and the Reds lose 6-1 to the Nationals. Reds are now 3-11 in their last 14 games against the Washington Nationals.
All right, we got a deep drive of the day. Came off the bat of Christian Encarnacion Strand, and when it comes off his bat, it's usually a AAA. Let's be honest, because that's just where he's going to be probably for the remainder of this year until otherwise. 92 miles an hour off the bat. That's not a very, very high exit velo for a home run. So he must have hit it right down the line. 323 feet, launch angle 33 degrees. DSC, they're a leader, as we all know, in renewable energies, they're specializing. And I don't have my ad read in front of me, but you know what I do know? I do know this. It's used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Nick's probably going to have to help me fill the rest of that in because I just can't remember.
www.deepsouthcommodities.com.
I got that part, but the beginning of that, I know I butchered it. But shout out to DSC and Deep South Commodities for supporting us in this show. Tough night, as CES is the only person that we can reach down into the jungle there and get ourselves a home run. All right, I guess the Nationals are the boogeyman. I don't know how else to say it. They do seem to find a way to always play well against the Cincinnati Reds. They ended the season last year, kind of, I guess, and they're on their way to ending the season this year. I don't know what to make of it. I don't really have an answer to it. Is this like the Brewers of the East for the Reds?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't get it. These pitching matchups should have been very favorable for the Reds. Yesterday they scored 8 runs. I don't know. I don't know what you make of the Nationals. Just, they've been a pain. I mean, it's not even the same manager. They fired their manager. New blood, Miguel Cairo. It transferred over the dominance against the Reds. I don't know, man. Just stupid.
It is dumb. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I'm not even going to sit here and try to figure out why the Nationals find a way to beat us when it matters the most, but they do. And we'll find out if the Reds can avoid a sweep tomorrow. Chase Burns started the game, Nick, and to be frank with you, I did not get a chance to watch this closely in the beginning of the front end of this baseball game. Seemingly handled his own. A big 2-out hit kind of made it, extend the lead. I also want to say, before I forget, Jake Fraley got charged, and maybe they've changed it by now, but Jake Fraley got charged with a throwing error on that ball.
Yeah.
What is he supposed to do? I mean, he threw the ball directly in front of Stevenson. The ball was right in front of him. It went right through his legs. I just
yeah.
What
I'm watching it back right now.
What is Jake Fraley supposed to do there to not get an error? Help me. Somebody help me understand that. That seems impossible that's the scoring decision when you're watching that baseball game. It's like, oh man, what a bad throw by Jake Fraley.
It must be the way that they're supposed to score it, just because I guess you can't. I completely agree with you. It's not Fraley's fault, but it's like the Sun type thing where you can't charge you can't charge the player for an error because of the Sun, so you can't charge Stevenson with an error for a ball that bounced to him. I guess that's the logic. I
get it. I do get your logic. I am actually 100% picking up what you're putting down. We just both know that is insanity to try to justify. Why can't we just at some point
team error or something?
Yeah, I would even say I even think that at some point we got to give a little bit of just what I would call, what's the right word to use, some gray area for the scoring officials. We got to give them the luxury to say, you know what, I know the ball's bouncing, but come on, man, that thing was right in front of them. Just the same as I've always heard in Little League and stuff, where balls popped up and you got kids trying to catch it and nobody touches it. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the official thing is, but I know this: if I'm a scoring official and there's a pop up in the infield and someone's trying to catch it, just because they don't touch it doesn't mean it's not an error. You're supposed to catch the ball. That's an error. So I guess to your point, some people think that there's these unofficial rules that, I guess since it's bouncing, like you said, he's not supposed to be able to block it. I don't know. He's got catcher's gear on.
Probably should not be an error at all. Just I don't know how you scored it.
You can score it a team error. I think you can score it a team error and just not put it on Jake Fraley's lap. If you don't want to give it to Stevenson, then don't give it to Jake Fraley. He doesn't deserve that. But the pitcher deserves to have
Chase Burns probably deserved the error. Yeah. Because if Burns would have been backed up properly, they probably stops it, and then there's not an error on anyone.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. It's beside the point. But Chase Burns, I guess I don't have a whole lot to say because I unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch much of it in regards to his outing. But I don't know what else to say.
He was an out away from getting through 5 innings of 1-run baseball.
Right.
So I mean that. Again, yes. Would you like to see him put up a better line? For sure, no question about it. But I mean, he was really, really good the first 4 innings. And probably if the bullpen hadn't been so taxed, he probably gets pulled earlier. And Barlow maybe gets a chance to at least get him out of the. Might even have a chance to get him out of the 5th. But I think they kind of were pushing him because of where the bullpen was. And he made a mistake to Jacob Young, who's the Nationals' worst hitter. So it's kind of I mean, I kind of like that he's trying to throw that guy strikes and attack him. And then the pitch that C.J. Abrams hit, which was the 3rd run of the game, was not even a strike. It was almost in the dirt. It was an incredible that he hit a ball 314 feet on a slider that was as low as it was. So yeah, I mean, again, I think this is an encouraging overall sign from Burns. He's not going to improve in AAA. When you're talking about shooting for 2026, you need Burns to just continue to get better, continue to improve. And overall, I think it's mostly a positive from Burns. And I think overall he's pitching pretty well. He's just got to be a little bit sharper, and he'll get there.
I'm not worried about Burns. I'm really not. It doesn't mean that he's going to get a hall pass for the entirety of every start for the next 2 years or anything of that nature. But without question, his stuff is what it is, and I think it's going to be more than good enough at some point here in the near future. And he continues to get experience, which is maybe the most important thing as we progress through this season. Is that, as I've said before, you head into opening day of 2026, and there's some comfortability. And you also feel like you belong. You know your way around the stadium. You know the routines that exist for the basically the team. It's not really just it's just not new anymore. You're the sophomore in high school to where you know your way around the building now, and you're not kind of I guess frantically looking around to make sure that you fit in. So. Yeah, I don't know. Not much else to say about this game outside of the idea of what you mentioned earlier. Just not enough pop in the lineup, not enough extra base hits to be able to put yourself in a spot where you're able to put up crooked numbers. Singles are great. I mean, I think singles are great. I'm not suggesting that we won't take them, but it's the same thing we've kind of preached all year long, Nick. Like, it's not even really so much hitting the ball out of the ballpark to me as much as it is, finding a way to get a leadoff double or heaven forbid a triple a time or two with a guy on base. And that's when this team's done their damage, is when they've hit the ball out of the ballpark. And oddly enough, they really don't have, prospect-wise, in my opinion, a lot of guys that can do that. So I guess that's the scary part heading into 2026, but we'll see. I mean, guys like Elly can progress. I'm kind of done with the whole, Matt McLean and CES, and I'll even throw Marte in the mix too, because, it feels like there's a hot and cold streak with all of these guys. So I don't even really want to sit here and deem Marte being 100% major league. The only guy that I feel like, without question, I'm done worrying about and done fretting of, he got off to a slow start. Is he not the same guy? Or is Elly? I'm done with that. I mean, he's basically, I'm not saying he's Joey Votto. I don't want to put that on him yet. But that's kind of the framework that I'm going to put himself in, which is just like, you can worry about Joey Votto hitting if you'd like. I mean, that's cool. I don't care if it's a month and a half, 2 months. You can come see me at the end of the year, and I can damn near assure you that Joey Votto is going to get his numbers. So I'm starting to feel like that's pretty much what Elly De La Cruz is as well. I guess the $1 million question, Nick, is how many more guys are going to be like that? I don't know. So that's the part of this team. Go ahead.
Yeah, kind of got a super chat that goes right along with what we're talking about, so we might as well just go to it now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Our guy Ned Flanders says, ignoring the expiring contract guys, who from the young core are you running back out in 2026, and who are you definitely trying to trade away in the off season? So my young core, I mean, guys that right now I would have a spot for, would be obviously Elly. I still have Matt McLean there, sue me. I have Noelvi, Marte there, sue me. If you don't trade Stevenson and Friedl, they're there. That's the 5 for me. Steer's not an everyday guy. I think he's a platoon guy, 10th position player type player, in my opinion. Gavin Lux. If Gavin Lux is still under contract next year, he would be an everyday against right-handed pitching. But I wouldn't be against shopping him here at the deadline either. So again, some of it's going to be who's kind of left. I think Jake Fraley would be another guy that you would shop. Is there anyone else that I'm, and then obviously, go ahead.
Does TJ Friedl have any value?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean,
I would think so too.
The fact that he can play center field. I mean, center field is a hard position to find players that are even just average. And I think that most teams would view TJ Friedl as at least kind of a worst case scenario. He's going to be an average player. Now he's put up numbers that are far above average to this point. But I think you probably expect a little bit of aggression, but that's okay. I think he still would be at least an average center fielder. And I think there's got to be a team that could use a center field upgrade out there on the market. So yeah, I think he's definitely a guy worth shopping. But if you don't trade him, and again, you can trade him again in the offseason too. then yeah, I mean, I think that he's earned a position at least to this point. Not batting leadoff, to be clear.
Yeah, I'm looking through it. I don't have a whole lot of guys that I'm like, hey, they have to be here. I know that you can't get rid of all of them. But I think that the guys that I'm willing to see it through for right now, that there's just there's no value to move them, and there's no value, in my opinion, of sending them down because I don't think that's going to do anything. But Matt McLean, Elly, I think Noelvi, Marte has earned the right to really earn a sustainable amount of time before you say that he can't play up here. If Spencer Steer gets the same kind of treatment, if you want to call it that, and again, I'm not suggesting, don't shoot me, I'm not suggesting he doesn't deserve it. All people are going to just come rushing to cut. I'm just saying if Spencer Steer gets the opportunity for a month or two to try to figure it out at the big league level when he's struggling as bad as he was at certain times, then I think Noelvi Marte deserves the same opportunity, because I think that the ceiling for Noelvi Marte, personally, is significantly higher than Spencer Steer's, quite considerably. That's kind of where I'm at with this whole thing, that I get confused sometimes, is that if you're going to give guys the benefit of the doubt and give them a lot of run at certain positions that you have to have offensive production for, then I would like to think that their ceiling or their capability of what their output is going to be is so damn high you can't take the risk on missing it. Yet I don't know if we do that. Jake Fraley, I guess, is a guy I ask, what do you do with him? I don't know. Personally, I don't see the ceiling being high enough for me to think that that's going to move the needle to make this team relevant. Will Benson, to be very clear, is a wild card, man. Like, he's a platoon player that isn't going to play a ton, like, in regards to there being a lefty matchup. He's not playing. If there's a left-handed guy that comes in the 7th inning, he's going to get taken out of the game. Like, that's his role. That's who he is. He's not someone that we should be sitting here thinking like he's going to solve our problems. But I do think between Jake Fraley and Will Benson, one of those guys could be a bench guy. Like, and by bench guy, I mean like a platoon type player. But I don't think you can have both of them. That's my thought. Like, it doesn't make sense to have two guys that are basically, in my opinion, the same type of role player. And the issue is that neither one of them, I guess, the Reds feel like are significantly better than the other. Maybe Tito believes that Jake Fraley is way better than Will Benson based off of the playing time, and Jake Fraley has played well, to be fair to him, over the last week. So I don't know, but that's one. You can't have Santiago Espinal playing as much as he has this year. So, but you're not going to get any value by trade. Like, I'm looking at all these guys. I'm going to give you all the guys that are expiring in 2026. Stevenson, Singer, Lux, Fraley, Espinal, and Lodolo. Of all of those guys, I mean, is there any of them that you think that you just cannot possibly see getting dealt?
Well, and in Fraley and Espinal's case, they're getting expensive because it's going to be their last year of arbitration, to where it's hard to justify the amount that they're going to make. So those guys, I mean, if you have someone that's willing to give up anything for them, I mean, I don't think you're going to tender them a contract next offseason. So
Right.
they're kind of those two players might be, outside of the obvious Austin Hayes and Nick Martinez, the next tier of guys that it makes sense to try to be the most aggressive moving, because they're not going to be here next year. For me, Trace, I would like to see guys like CES and Reese Hines in the second half, and Will Benson. Will Benson not against left-handed pitching. I like just to see those guys play every day for 2 months without being in and out of the lineup and without being shuffled, and kind of see what you have. Kind of be able to at least have a guy to say, okay, is that guy we might be able to count on next year? And maybe they just completely play themselves to where you go into next year and they are just completely not even a thought. But all three of those guys, I haven't seen enough to make me convinced that they don't have the chance to be a contributing big leaguer.
It's fair. I mean, it's very fair. I also think it's going to be an interesting decision that's going to get made at the deadline, whether or not they do buy maybe a piece or two that will look to help them in 2026. That obviously can help them in 2025. Don't take that. I guess they could come here and help whatever we're trying to do, but the real reason that you brought them in was because you think that there's some value to be had in 2026. Clearly, Luis Robert is the guy that I think most people are going to point to right now because the Reds have already been tied to him. You have another one. Can I take a guess?
There's no way you're going to guess it.
All right. Well, I know you're not going to say Ozuna, so you won't say him.
Well, he's expiring. He's expiring.
Okay. I'm looking at guys that if they they have 1 year left on their deal.
Yeah. So this is the Scott Rowland playbook. Okay. Max Muncy. He's currently on the IL. I believe the timetable was mid-August for him to return. But he has 1 year left, $10 million option. I mean, he would be a bat that you could bring in that would absolutely be that big bat that could play first base. He can actually play third base, DH. I don't know if the Dodgers will be willing to trade him if I don't know if they feel so confident he's going to be back off the IL and he'll be able to help us in the postseason, or if they're like, I don't know if we want to risk him coming back from injury. I don't think it was a big injury, but Scott Rowland, when the Reds acquired him, he was on the IL with the Blue Jays in 2009, which got me thinking. Someone asked me a question. That would be the kind of guy. There was someone else who was on the IL, and I was like, that's kind of an interesting thought, is to a contending team, someone that's on the IL, you trade them, I don't know, Nick Martinez or Austin Hayes for them. And that could be a way to get a legitimate big leaguer that could help you. Could maybe even help you at the end of this year, and could definitely help you next year.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a solution, man. It's not a simple one, is it? It's not a simple one.
Unfortunately, the free agent class this offseason isn't that great either.
I'm looking through it. It's not the best. I mean, there's just not a whole lot there, if we're being completely
It's either
frank.
like Kyle Tucker, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, or
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no TJ Maxx versions out there, is there? There's no good Honda Accords out there. There's a couple Mercedes Benz, there's a Lexus, and then there's maybe even a Lamborghini. But there's
Austin Hayes looks pretty good on the list, to be honest.
I know, and
you gotta look at the list. You're like, hey, Austin Hayes might be one of the best options on that list.
I was thinking to myself, like, what is it going to take for us to sit here and maybe negotiate with Austin Hayes to come back?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Let's try to do that now but again, the sad thing is that Hayes just comes with baggage. I mean, he really does. Like, the question ultimately is that can Hayes stay healthy long enough to help us throughout an entire season? He's done well up since his last stint, but boy, he's also been in and out. You know what it feels like, Nick? If you took the same lineup and roster that we had in June, right? Same types of, I guess, output. And you gave us those guys at the beginning of the season, and they stayed healthy, I think we'd be in a different position. But the problem is that that's just not how baseball goes, and you can't ever rely on just staying healthy all year long. For those that are wondering, guys that are expiring with contracts here in 2025 that are probably, I guess, noteworthy, Nick Martinez, Emilio Pagan. I don't think you're going to get anything out of Taylor Rogers. I could be completely wrong, but maybe his ERA, somebody doesn't look into the rest of it and they're just stupid. And I don't know. But I mean, he is a left-handed pitcher, reliever. I don't know. Maybe I can convince myself somebody will give up something for that, but I doubt it. Austin Hayes, obviously, Brent Suter. Don't really know, what that's going to look like. Barlow.
Be back next year.
Yeah, Barlow has. I think Barlow has a club option. Does he have a club option? I could be wrong on that. Just looking through this list here. That's pretty much it. And then, like I said, guys that only have 1 year left after this year would be Stevenson, Singer, Lux, Fraley, Espinal, and Lodolo. So, yeah.
Barlow has what is the red? I think red is club option. He has a club option for $6.5 million.
Right.
What?
I have
Might be
2.5.
I don't know.
$6 million.
Wait, $6.5 million club option.
What did he get paid this
You
year?
ever- 2.5.
What?
This is a mistake on Spot Track.
How did he go from
1
2.5
year.
to 6.5? I mean, let's be honest. You know what's sad? Let's cut to the chase here and let's get into 988. The sad thing is that we're sitting here worrying about $4 million as a professional franchise when the Dodgers and the Mets basically pissed that away in the bathroom.
$6.5 million club option for 2026 with a $1 million buyout. So basically, it's do you want to pay him $5.5 million or not?
I mean, the way he's been,
And the way relievers are,
I don't know. He might be terrible next year. He'll be Trevor. He'll be Taylor Rogers, not Trevor. We'll pay him.
Yeah.
We'll pay him a bunch of money, and then he'll be bad. And we'll be like, well, what
a
happened?
smart contract from him.
Good got a good agent.
Yeah.
Good agent. All right. 988. You can text and/or call day or night. It's okay to not be okay. Very clearly on nights like tonight, it's one of those sombering situations that you find yourself in. But this isn't all that important, is it? There's other things that are more important than this. So if you ever find yourself where things are going, in a direction that you're not liking in your life, I very much encourage you to use the resource that is 988. And you can text or call. It's an anonymous hotline. And you can also visit mantherapy.org if you need to. Other thing I want to make note, we are going to Smoke Justice on Tuesday night, the 29th. We'll be there from 4:30 to 6:30. Come hang out with us, boy. I could use a hug, I could use a hug. You maybe even use a hug. We could sit there and chat about the good old days of not scoring any runs at Atlanta, or maybe getting, a grand slam hit on us by Buster Posey. We can think about the good old days as fans, right? And sit around and sing Kumbaya. But I tell you what, to make it even better, if you're thinking, you know what, that doesn't sound like a good time, Trace, we're going to give out some free T-shirts, some Chatterbox T-shirts. First 50 folks that get there, we're going to give out a Chatterbox T-shirt. And, I hope to see you there. I really do. Genuinely mean that. Smoke Justice has been somebody that put some faith in us and wanted to support our show and what we are doing. And that means a lot. That means a lot to all of us. So thank you for those that are planning on coming, and we hope to see you there. So moving forward, we have some super chats, Nick. Super chats to finish it out. The Big Red Machine. I always said I loved the Big Red Machine. He says, who was calling the pitches? Was it Johnson to Tyler or Tyler to Burns? Pitch calling has been an issue most of the year with most of our losses. Yeah, I think it's easy to second-guess pitches, and there's no doubt. I'm not suggesting that there's never a time where you're like, why are we throwing this pitch here? I'll just say this. I do think I've always tempered my expectations with pitch sequencing and pitch calling generally because of just how much data there is anymore. I have a hard time believing that these guys aren't fully prepared going into the game, knowing what cold zone areas these guys have or what issues they might have in regards to sequencing from hitter to hitter. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe they just go out there and wing it and they're like, well, the fastball's working tonight. Let's do that one, middle in. I don't know. Perhaps I'm wrong, but if I had to guess, it's Stevenson. That's just the way that the big leagues have always been. The catcher calls the pitches, and he's also the one that gets the scouting report, and he has a game plan. He goes over the game plan with the pitcher. Maybe the pitcher shares some stuff with him on, hey, I'm not, this pitch isn't really working, et cetera, in between innings, and they make some adjustments. But more times than not, you even hear when pitchers, say that they had a good night, they weren't even thinking at all. They were just, whatever he put down, I threw. You've heard that time and time again. I don't think Johnson is calling the pitches at all. No. Do you have any guesses, Nick, on that or thoughts?
No, I think that they give the catcher the ability to do that, but they have like full group meetings before the game too. It's like Trevino's in on that process as well. I mean, it's a group effort. Bullpen catcher. So yeah.
I wonder if the bullpen catcher can hit. Gadzook says, don't get your hopes up for selling guys and playing the youth. Selling would be admission that Nick Krall was wrong, and he would never do that. That is a good point in regards to what is about to happen. I hope that Nick Krall doesn't have that mindset. That's the type of mindset that gets you in a world of trouble. If you keep trying to play a hand that quite obviously isn't good enough, you fold. That's what good poker players do. You know, you don't just keep pushing chips into the middle on a bad hand. I don't think that he's going to do that. Maybe that's just me trying to be optimistic in my brain and feel good about it. So I don't know.
I think it's more likely. I think it's more likely that he could be pressured into not doing it. I don't think Nick Krall would be against selling. I feel like he understands that. I mean, based on the way that they've talked about building their roster, I hope to God he understands that. But yeah, I would lose a lot of faith if the Reds are 5 games out of the trade deadline and they are not selling multiple pieces. I would lose a lot of faith, and it'd be funny because I'd be losing a lot of faith for one reason, and the other half of the fan base would be losing faith for the other reason for not buying, and he's gonna have no one left. So, Nick, buddy boy, don't lose your last hope here. I mean,
yeah, you got some soldiers that have been on the front lines for quite some time. Nick Kirby's probably the leader in the clubhouse with that one. So let's try to make sure that we don't lose the only guys that are still left on the battlegrounds. I would just say as well, Nick Krall has done something already this year that showcases that I don't think that he's in this scared to admit that he's wrong. He DFA'd Jeimer Candelario. So I think that to me showcases that he doesn't have 1 ounce of worrying about what something might look like. Because if even myself, Nick, somebody that didn't make that decision, was even trying to justify the idea of letting him come back and seeing if he couldn't figure it out, because it's just so much money that you're paying for somebody that has been so bad that they have to be able to bounce back. They can't be this bad. But they decided, you know what, we're done with dealing with it, so they moved on. Ned Flanders says, do you think we can get Mike Sirota back from the Dodgers for Nick Martinez? No. No, you're not. You're not getting him back. They tried to draft him, and then they obviously had him penciled, big old circle around Mike Sirota. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're not going to give him back. No,
I think that one is
ship has sailed.
I think it's funny. Gavin looks at maybe the best day of the season going forward.
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today. I was like, man, Gavin Lux has been such a disappointment. Like I felt so good about him like a month and a half ago. Felt like, all right, the first month of the season, he had bad luck. You know, the at-bats looked really good, and man, he's just. But then today he played the best game all year. So.
And he did. What my favorite thing about doing this is boy, oh boy, do you have people on the internet that hate your guts. That's my favorite thing. And I love it. I actually enjoy it. Nick can't stand it. I love it. I love that there's people that are so mad at me for being negative about the Reds. Just largely because there's so much positive things to discuss after you drop a game that you could have won on Sunday, and then you turn around and you lay a big fat egg back-to-back nights against the Washington Nationals. And if you have a half a brain, even a small semblance of a brain cell, you realize that's a pretty big damn deal. And when you follow this team day in and day out, in your life quite literally runs the Cincinnati Reds. I have to get down here every single night with Nick, and I love it. I'm not complaining. By God, I love it. I watch the game for 2.5 hours. I come down here. I do a show for an hour and a half. It's basically 4 hours a day, every single day of my life. And you know what I get for it? I get nothing. I basically get a big old shit sandwich every single year. Yeah, I do get a little upset from time to time. Okay? I do. It wears me down. And if you think that I'm just going to sing Kumbaya, everybody, it's okay. Not a big deal. The Padres lost tonight. No harm, no foul. Yeah, okay. Well, guess what? The Dodgers are getting ready to come into town. And you know what? The Padres are probably going to start winning some games here soon. And our playoff odds went from 20% down to about 6%. But you know what, Fred? I'm going to stay positive for you. If you don't like it, just don't watch me and or follow my tweets. All right? You broke me. I'm sorry. I wish I could be positive. I sit here and I do a show with the most positive man on the face of the earth when it comes to the Cincinnati Reds. And he can't even get me to a spot where I feel good. So maybe there's a number I can call and get some help. Anyways. Red batter up says sell. He's not wrong.
You gotta learn how to use that mute button on the social media apps.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I do. But you know what I'll also say to that? I think that listen. I also would say I think that there's a significant amount more people that understand the humor that is what I try to do on a nightly basis. I try to make it funny. What we like if we're gonna cry and be miserable, let's at least laugh about it, right? Like let's at least laugh about it. Yeah, I don't know. People listen to the show. I don't know what you want from me right now. I would just tell you that I am a fan just like you. It hurts. I'm tired of waiting. So are you. And you know what? Believe it or not, I'm going to speak for him. Nick is too. Trust me. I can already tell you what's going to happen when the show gets over, right? We're going to hit the end of the show, and Nick's going to go like this. You ready? I'm going to give you. He's going to go. We just need some help from these guys, man. That's what he's going to do. You know why? Because you can only beat a horse so much until they're dead. And damn it, I might not be dead, but I'm close. Maybe they win 10 in a row. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this gets clipped up when we're making our first postseason appearance since 1925. By 1925, I of course mean like 2015, but who's counting? 2020 if you want to count COVID or whatever else. But 2015, definitely not. But 2020, shout out to that COVID team. Anyways, what's left to talk about?
I think you've covered it all. MLB?
Yeah. I'd love to hear what Shang-In Lin's doing on a night like tonight. Please.
Well, unfortunately, the ACL Reds were off tonight. And I don't.
Does that mean Tyson Lewis doesn't play?
Tyson Lewis also did not play.
I might get a Tyson Lewis jersey.
There you go. Louisville, they won 9-4 over Iowa. Hector Rodriguez had a nice day, 2 for 4. Christian Encarnacion Strand, 2 for 4. Hit his third home run at AAA. Sal Stewart, 1 for 4. Blake Dunn had his, I think it was a 35-game on-base streak snapped. He was 0 for 5. Ironically enough, Dunn had been batting 9th mostly, got moved up to lead off, and his streak ended. So that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who finds that funny. Buck Farmer.
I'm not listening, Nick. Tonight. I'm just pissed.
Buck Farmer, inning in a third, gave up a run. Zach Maxwell somehow threw a scoreless inning despite walking 3 batters. Chattanooga, they won 6-5 over Columbus. In that one, Edwin Arroyo had a hit. Cam Collier, nice night, 2 for 5 with a double. And then Ethan O'Donnell hit a home run. He was 2 for 4 with his 5th home run of the year. Good to see. O'Donnell's had a really tough season overall. Dayton, they lost again, now 28-60. They lost 9-2 to the South Bend Cubs. Carlos Jorge was 1 for 4. Carlos Sanchez 1 for 4 as well. And then Daytona, they won 6-1 over St. Lucie. Sammy Stafora 2 for 4 with a triple. Alfredo Duno was 0 for 4. And then earlier today, out in the Dominican Summer League, tough day for both teams down there. The DSL Reds lost 9-7. The DSL Rojos fell 13-0. Adolfo Sanchez was 1 for 5. Nabio Mariano continues to hit well, though. 2 for 5 with a double. He's now got a 819 OPS through 30 games. Really good to see. He is a guy who really struggled last year, was one of the Reds' top international signings. but has really played well. And really everyone in the Dominican Summer League that we've been following has played very well this year. So that has been very encouraging down there.
Yeah. I was going to say something super mean, and I just decided not to. I didn't want you to take it too wrongly, but I do. I am very thankful that our sixth grade Red Leagues team is down there. They're putting up a good fight. I look forward to them in the year 2047.
Elly started there.
I think that's the kind of like when you walk in to get scratch offs at the old local supermarket, and they got like somebody here won $275,000 5 years ago. I think that's kind of what you just did to me right there. You're like, wow, okay, maybe it is possible. Elly did play there.
They were all very bad last year, though. Every top prospect and the Dominican Summer League was terrible last year. They've all collectively played very well so far this year. So I think the collectiveness is the better sign that I wouldn't put all of my eggs in the basket of Adolfo Sanchez, but it's nice that there's 3 guys down there that are performing well, and you hope that one of them can pan out. That's more how I would look at it holistically.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, Nick. You're not wrong. We're just let us losers that complain about everything just sit in our corner and whine. Okay, I just want to go and cry for a little while, and then I'll wake up tomorrow and maybe I'll feel better. But I mean, I just watched this baseball team that I thought was maybe trending in the right direction just clank it up there for a couple games against the Washington Nationals for the second year in a row. But here we go. Andrew Scobie says, if you're not at least negative and frustrated a little bit about the state of the Reds franchise, then you're just not. Then you're just at not being honest with yourself. I think he's just trying to say then you're just not being honest with yourself. This team is just average at best. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they've certainly looked like they've been above average at times this year. There's no doubt about it. And then there's been times where, they've just not. What's frustrating with them is that I don't think that at any point this year they've showcased that they're completely inept and they have no chance. Like, if you lose 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, or maybe you get swept 2 series and then you only win 1 game in 1 series, so out of your last 10, you're call it 2-8, then you can kind of be like, all right, it's pretty evident. That's not happened this year. They've every time that you thought, man, this team doesn't look that, they've bounced back, and they've bounced back in a big way. And they might do it again. Like, they might rally, win again tomorrow, and then win the next 2 games, and then everyone's going to be like, see, you gave up on 2. The issue is it just seems like we already know that the story's been written about how it's going to go, which is they're going to disappoint you again. And I guess this is just yet another time that they've disappointed me. And this time it feels detrimental. This time feels to me like it just doesn't seem like they have the goods. And to be clear, I only feel this way because of the deadline. And I feel like they have to make some decisions at the deadline. If you told me that there was no repercussions heading into 2026 and 27 and 28 based off the decisions they make at the deadline at all, then I would just say, okay, well, I guess we can maybe rattle something off later this year. But we cannot afford to have all of these guys on expiring contracts that have some seemingly what I would consider some good value. And Hayes has to have some value. I mean, genuinely.
I think Nick Martinez has some value too.
Yeah, he probably has some good value. And Nick Martinez had some value last year. And to be honest with you, they didn't trade him. Now, to be fair, they gave him a qualifying offer. Nick, I don't know if this is true or not, but could they have extended him a qualifying offer last year if they traded him, or did they lose that right?
You lose that right. You have to have someone for a full year.
Okay, so there you go. So I mean, I guess then they would have not, So at the end of the day, we'll see what they do, and we don't have too much longer to wait. 8 days, 19 hours, 41 minutes, 28 seconds until we ultimately know what the Reds' fate is going to be at the deadline. Nick, any final parting thoughts here as we head off into what will be another night of a Reds loss?
Well, Reds, I got a lot at stake tomorrow, Trace. I haven't gotten swept all year.
That's true. I forgot. Big gig, big game.
Yeah, 12:05 start time tomorrow. I believe we have Chatterbox Reds pregame at 11 a.m. We'll see if the boys wake up or not for that one. But that's supposed to be at 11 a.m. Nick Lodolo, he is pitching really well. Last 6 starts, 2.34 ERA. He's also gone 6 innings in 3 straight starts. So hopefully the Reds can get a good outing out of Lodolo. Reds will be going up against Michael Soroka, former first-round pick who finished 6th in the Cy Young voting, 2nd in NL Rookie of the Year back in 2019, but then had dealt with a bunch of just brutal injuries. Last year was 0-10 with the Chicago White Sox. Had a 4.74 ERA and then signed a 1-year, $9 million contract with the Nationals this offseason. Four-seamer, slurve, changeup, sinker. Fastball's 94 miles per hour. Batter's hitting just $1.22 against his slurve. Career 5.23 ERA in 2 starts against the Reds. Last year, 1 start actually walked 6 batters in 4 2/3 innings. Gave up 5 runs. Active Reds are just 2 for 13. Fraley's 1 for 1. De La Cruz 0 for 3. Will Benson, who I'm sure we will not see in the lineup, 1 for 1 as well.
All right. Reds play tomorrow at noon for what seems like an opportunity to, at the end of this year, say, well, at least we didn't get swept. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure what the hell they're playing for. So we'll see. I would just say the amount of people that watch this show, the amount of people who are in the chat right now, humbly, I just say thank you. Really, genuinely. This is our livelihoods, and sometimes it gets a little scary. It gets a little scary at times when you're trying to figure out, how long into the season can you go until you lose certain people, and they're worried about, whether or not there's something more important that they could go do with their lives than watch a post-game show that is about their baseball team that they love, that no longer perhaps seemingly has a chance to do something of relative importance that year. The fact that this many people stick around, have stuck around, and continue to stick around for, I don't know, whatever reason. Maybe it's for us, maybe it's for the chat, maybe you just like to see us kind of commiserate or be upset. I don't know, but I just want to say thank you for whatever reason that is. And also, if you haven't already, please, you can go download the podcast and listen to this each and every single morning. So, so for Nick, obviously, I'm Trace. So long. We'll see you tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be better than ever, but we're going to try to be. Take care, everybody. See ya.